So why do we find it so hard to relate to influencers? And I bet that you probably came up with tons of answers as soon as I finished asking that question. Maybe you thought that fame changed them, or maybe that they are money hungry now and they just are very out of touch, or maybe they just don't share the same values anymore. But what if I told you that these reasons are very likely just a limitation and not the actual truth? What if it's about us and our discomfort and not the influencers? Because there's a reason why we usually follow a growing influencer, but as soon as they make it, we tend to step away from their content and get skeptical and just not really believe that they are the same people anymore. But the deeper issue at hand is that we are uncomfortable with people's growth and progress. And let me tell you this right now, that it's okay to feel this way. It's valid, it's quite common, but it is important to realize that this actually limits our potential and our own growth and our progress. So let's unpack this. I just want to give you a reminder that I've been there too. I actually wanted to see people fail because that validated me and my lack of progress. But I soon realized that this was actually a very harmful pattern to me and my mental health and my well-being and also others. So the purpose of this video is to help you realize this too. But just a little disclaimer before I get into it. Please know that I am not talking about influencers that genuinely did something mean, evil, cruel, harmful, or anything controversial in general. Those situations are extreme, and normally in all of those videos when I unpack a certain issue, I never talk about extreme scenarios. So please keep that in mind while watching. Let me explain why I picked specifically influencers and not celebrities or other public figures, because it's actually very intentional. Most importantly, we feel much more connected to influencers because we see them grow and start from a similar place to us, or maybe fairly similar place to us, and we see the personality more. We see them as actual people and not performers. And especially at the start, we feel like we can connect to them and it's much easier to even reach out to them. Whereas when it comes to celebrities, they kind of blow up. We don't really see their auditions or them working on the newest albums and stuff like that. So that's why I picked influencers instead. Okay, let's zoom out for a second and let me compare it to a situation so it's easier to visualize it. So let's imagine that you just climbed a mountain and failed. I know, a bit of a crazy scenario, but stick with me. And now that you failed, obviously you feel upset and you are sad because you really tried so hard. And then your friend, someone from your circle, comes up to you and they try the exact same way of climbing that mountain and they end up making it. They climbed it. They're at the top, and there you are, stood in shock and thinking, how on earth did you do that? Like, what did I not do that you did? What the heck? Like, hello? And you start making assumptions. Maybe they did something different, maybe they took a different step, or maybe they had a different gear, maybe they had different shoes on, maybe they grabbed a rock differently. I don't know, I don't climb mountains, so don't quote me on that. But either way, you start making assumptions and trying to find the reason why you failed but they didn't. So now coming back to influencers, let's unpack why we feel that way, because it's very, very important to realize. And I think the first reason and the most common is fear. It's not that we are scared of the influencer themselves, we are scared of the success that they have. And why, you might ask, why would I be scared of someone's success? Well, because it shows you that it is possible, but you are scared to take that leap yourself. We might be scared of stepping out of our comfort zones, but we like to see others do it. But as soon as they actually win, they actually make something happen, we start getting skeptical and we start questioning them. Why? Because it doesn't validate us staying in our comfort zones. It's also probably being scared of taking risks, because we also know that probably this influencer did take some risks with money, with maybe moving somewhere, and we are scared of it ourselves because maybe we don't have as much scope as they do. But it never has to be big risks at the same time. It can be literally trying out a different method of doing something other than relying on something that we've done for years and years on end. And I think the most common fear that we all face is fear of success and or failure. Now, fear of success is a bit more layered and complex, I think, because we are scared of not the success itself, because of course success is something positive in general, but we are scared of the responsibilities that it holds. We are scared of what steps we have to actually take to get there. We are scared of people judging us along the way. We are scared of being cringe along the way. We are scared of losing people like our friends, family, our immediate circles. And coming back to taking risks, we are scared of them because we know that it is a risk and we know that we are taking it, and we know if it doesn't work out, it's on us. And when it comes to failure, we are scared that we're just gonna end up disappointed because we tend to believe that if we've done something similar in a specific way before and it failed, it's gonna fail again. We just like to assume that because that's what we know. Another very common reason is a thing called perception bias. Now, perception bias is basically when you make an assumption about something or someone and you start looking for evidence or proof that will reinforce that assumption that you've made, which makes you close-minded because you don't allow yourself to open yourself for some other possibilities. You made your mind up already and you're just looking for evidence that will justify that. And this can manifest in many scenarios, but let me talk about the most common ones. And first of all, and the one that I can relate to, is scarcity mindset. And one of the core beliefs of scarcity mindset is thinking that other people have it somehow easier than us and they have more advantages, they have more resources and opportunities than us, and that's why they made it. And because we think that way, we just start thinking that we are never going to be able to achieve the same amounts of success than them. But it is very important to note here while I'm talking about this that we need to remember that not every influencer will share every single part of their life. For example, I am very transparent about my financial struggles and the fact that I come from scarcity, but I don't really feel like talking about my past relationships or my weight loss journey, for example, because this is something that I don't feel as passionate about, and that goes for every other influencer. Some people won't talk about their finances, but they're gonna talk about the heartbreaks. Some people won't talk about the heartbreaks, but they are gonna talk about their career choices. But that doesn't mean that we should assume that every other area of their life that they don't share was easy or was full of resources and full of advantages. And something that I touched on already, and this is something that I related to very, very much, is that we subconsciously want others to stay the same exact way, so that validates us staying stuck. And I know it sounds really harsh, but it is the truth. Growth is never comfortable and it requires a lot of stuff from us. So when we see someone succeed, especially if they come from similar circumstances like us, this challenges our belief system, our actions, and everything that we do. So we either get inspired and driven, or we get defensive. And last very common reason is comparison trap. Seeing others succeed, especially if they are our age or younger than us, will very often make us feel like we are rushed almost to make progress ourselves, and ultimately it's gonna lead us to feeling behind and unmotivated. We tend to be biased because of our efforts, because we tend to think that just because we did something, it must work and it's enough. And that obviously limits us because we can't see the full picture. We never see what influencers actually do in the background to achieve the success that they did. And there's a very high chance that actually this person is probably doing 10 times more than us, and that's why they are succeeding, but we can't see it. But we like to assume that they are not, or they are, again, having some sort of advantages, and that makes us feel a bit better about ourselves. And it's not even that we consciously don't want to, it's just that we are scared of changing our methods, changing our approach, because we feel comfortable with what we've already explored. Therefore, it's harder to explore different horizons, because we never know if it's going to work, and obviously we don't want to feel that heartbreak if it doesn't, right? Okay, so how can we overcome this? Let's talk about it. So I already touched on this before, but you need to remind yourself that you never see the full picture. People choose what they show you, and especially influencers, they don't always show you the amount of work and emails and admin and finances and accounting that they had to do in order to get where they are. And I might be a little biased because obviously I am working in social media right now, but I can assure you that right now, at the time of recording this video, not many people know me. I'm at 98 subscribers currently as of recording this video. I'm also on 1,400 TikTok followers and 149 Instagram followers. And when I get to the goal that I want to get, people will call me an overnight success. Why? Because they didn't see me at this stage right now. And I can assure you, even though I have the small numbers right now, I am working on this like it's a full-time business. I work one person as 5 different teams, but you can't see it because I don't show it. But I literally work so hard on everything that I do. Trust me, sometimes I feel so tired, but because I love it so much and I feel so aligned, I would never ever think of giving up. I absolutely love doing this, and that's the same for most influencers. Again, I'm not talking about the extreme cases, but most influencers that started from nothing, so many of them were on social media for ages and nothing was happening, and then one video took them to this next level. But we tend to forget that there was 100 other videos that they did and they never had the same amount of success. It's easy to judge when we see a person that has 200,000 subscribers, for instance, and they have high views and high engagement, but we weren't there when they had 90 subscribers and 1 comment. And it's not to promote hustle culture in any way as well, because at the end of the day, you should work with your own flow and your own energy and what works for you. But what I'm trying to say is that we just shouldn't assume that just because someone has either low numbers or high numbers, that they didn't do the work that it required to get to those numbers. Because trust me, most successful people, they work in silence, and then the success hits and everybody calls them an overnight success. But no one knows how many times they cried, how many times they tried to give up, how many times they thought that they can't do it anymore, and they still kept going, but no one was there to actually witness it. And with that being said, it's okay to feel challenged, but it is our choice and our decision how we respond to that challenge. Because like I said, we either get defensive or we get inspired and motivated and driven. Most of the times we get defensive. Why? Because we are, like I said, biased by our own efforts. We like to have this perception bias in general, and we like to be reassured that it's okay to stay where we are, but at the same time, it's actually not. We just like to be reassured that we don't have to do many things to achieve success, because we are so conditioned nowadays to think that there's shortcuts everywhere, that there's always a quick fix to something, because all the marketing and industries have made us believe that there's always a quick way to achieve something. And don't get me wrong, when you get into entrepreneurship, especially on YouTube, there's tons of people that claim that, oh, I earned $10,000 a week. Everyone starts from a different angle and different circumstance. Some people have marketing knowledge, business knowledge. They had already some sort of experience to back up what they are doing now, so they knew what they were doing when they were starting a specific side hustle. But just because they had that doesn't mean that you can. And that's why you need to remember that if you start from scratch with something that you never touched before, it will take you much longer to understand it and master it than other people that already have some sort of an experience. And it's not to discourage you, because that's okay. You will learn along the way. They also had to start somewhere. But that's the thing, we tend to believe that there's always a quick way to achieve something, that there's this overnight success that is actually possible without doing much to actually achieve it. But unfortunately, the real truth and the harsh truth is that you have to work your ass off to get to where you want to be. And if you're not willing to do that, that's fine, but don't judge others for it. And no one is telling you to drop everything now and work 24/7. Like I said, I'm not trying to promote hustle culture. And this is a harsh truth that I had to realize myself. Trust me, I've been there myself. I honestly was in the exact same spot as you might be right now, and I was trying to always find an excuse or some sort of an evidence that the person that I was looking up to, they had it easier than me, or they had some sort of a lucky opportunity that I just never will get to have. But that's not true. They just worked hard despite the setbacks and obstacles that were thrown along the way. And it's inspiring. It's motivating. We should treat it as inspiration, motivation. We should treat it as an evidence that things that we want are possible. If you see someone do it and have it and thrive in it, that means that it's possible for you. Just like it is for them, it is for you. And it's ultimately about understanding that everybody is on a different timeline. Everyone's timeline is unique, and it should never be compared to one another. Everyone starts from a different angle, different position in life, with different experiences, different wisdom, different knowledge. And that's what you should celebrate and be happy about. You should be grateful that this is that way, because that means you are never behind. You are exactly where you should be. Because in order to achieve something, you have to learn certain set of lessons and skills and personality traits to get there. You have to become a certain person to be able to handle this kind of success and this kind of money and whatever it is. So your path, it might seem like it's taken longer, or it's harder, or it's more demanding at times. It might seem like this, but in reality, it's literally preparing you to be able to succeed. And the more setbacks you get, the quicker you grow. The more failures you get, the quicker you grow, because you become more resilient, confident, and you have proof that no matter the challenge, no matter the setback, you are still gonna make it. Listen, I tried 10 business ideas before I got into social media, and all of them failed, by the way. And I'm so glad that I did fail that many times, because this otherwise wouldn't lead me to my purpose, which is being on social media and teaching people like you that everything is possible no matter where you come from. So please remember that you are never behind, and don't compare yourself to anyone else's, because everyone has a different timeline, a different path, and a different unique journey. So all in all, maybe the real reason why we can't relate to influencers is not because they changed. Maybe it's because we are invited to change too. And if we are brave enough to accept that invitation, then we might just grow alongside them. Think about that next time you can't relate to an influencer. Now tell me, what is your take on this? I am really curious what people think about this, because I think it is a bit of a controversial take, but I honestly truly believe that as soon as we realize that a lot of problems is the problems that we create and problems that don't have to exist, but we just somehow make problems for ourselves even though there's literally no reason for that. And that's what I realized along my journey, and honestly I am so proud that I have, because now I can share this with everyone and show you that it is truly possible for everyone to be great and to fulfill their life purpose, no matter what circumstances you come from and no matter what situation you are in. And if you are interested, I have tons of guides on different topics and how-tos on my YouTube channel, so make sure to check that out. And I also post unfiltered thoughts, and soon I will be posting vlogs as well, and if they are there already by the time you are watching this, and of course I'm gonna link them down below. You can find all of my social media below as well. I am on TikTok and Instagram as well, and like I said, at the time of recording this video I'm at a small number of followers, so maybe you can help me out with that. But other than that, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell button as well so you know when I post. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.